Welcome everybody. Today is second session of 31st of July 2021, and today's the topic of learning session is good or bad luck versus our best interest. So before we go to our topic today, so let me give you a little bit of update of that energy level. This, as we explained in the New Year message, that this is the year of renewal. New things, new way of life, new things will come on our life path, and or maybe existing things, whatever we are doing, we found a new way of doing things. It is not because of the external factors or lockdown, etc. It is also depending upon the level of awareness we are in. We have last year during lockdown, a lot of changes happened. The Mother Earth, the energy level has changed. We are part of Mother Earth, so our energy with Mother Earth, we are also shifted energetically. And the grossest part is about our physical body. It has transformed in the cellular level. That has already happened last year. So you might have felt, even though it is a lockdown period, we are not doing too many of physical activities. Still, sometimes we feel tired, needed more sleep. Our sleep pattern, eating pattern changed. You might have experienced that. It is not necessary that everybody has to experience same way, but these are very common. Those are the indications our body is changing and acclimatizing itself with the new energy. Those have been completed this year. In the beginning, first half of the year, that was a little bit turbulent year. A lot of people have changed many things already, and some of them are, some of us are, we are middle of it, but it happened. Somebody changed house, somebody changed job, and many things have happened on the relationship level, and health-wise, it is somebody has little bit turbulent period, etc. So there are a lot of changes already happened, and now energetically, from this August onwards, it is a time when things will come up. This opportunities will come up, and you have to take that opportunity, and maybe it will sometimes come unexpectedly. You have to be fully alert and aware of that. And when that happens, it will change very fast. Development will happen very fast. Some of us have already have this kind of things, but some of them will happen now. So I'm just telling, be ready energetically. There is nothing to be scared about. This is all just to making yourself to be ready. Any kind of change, our mind, ego mind, considered as a threat. It is not a threat. It is for our ultimate good. It is in our best interest, which is part of the topic today. It is a part of the change, part of the process. Whichever is working in our life, that will remain. Whichever was not working in our life, that will fade away. It does not mean that whatever is, if something is not working out with somebody else, that people will die. Don't think about that. It is not that. It is just we'll rediscover ourselves, renew ourselves. That is the renewal energy, and this is the time from this August onwards. It will be there. In between, some two eclipses happened. That time it was a very turbulent period, and that effect of that extended till some kind of planetary positions, extended till end of July, which is now over. So this time will come, something will, development happen and then move very fast. A lot of changes will happen. So, and don't get perplexed with that. Be with the flow, and you will be guided. You will be, going where you need to be. You have to trust the divine and go with that flow. That is your best strategy in this kind of time, and it will be happening for your ultimate good. So this is just a initial thing about the energy level. What you can expect in the month of August onwards. It will continue till end of the year. Now in this, let me come to today's topic of the luck, good luck, bad luck. So all of us, so we are very well familiar with the luck, something we call lucky, something we are not unlucky. It's a hard luck. It is the best of luck. So we use luck quite a lot, So what is this luck? As per I will make the discussion in two parts. One, the first part will be what is normally socially, how socially the luck is used in general. And the second part is the spiritual, looking at it from the spiritual part. That is the second half. So initially I start with how it is normally perceived in our society, how it plays out. So I'll start with some definition from Oxford Dictionary. It says luck is chance considered as a force that causes good or bad things to happen. Here it is written in a very, smart way. Say chance is considered as a force. They are not saying that luck is a force that causes good or bad things to happen. They are not saying that. They are saying it is a chance considered as a force, and which is very clever way of explaining it. Basically, it is not a force. It is just a chance. Good luck or bad luck, it is statistically, if you see or over the period of your lifetime, you will have a 50% good luck and 50% bad luck. In other words, 50% what you expected or exceeded your expectation, which is considered as a good luck, and something you didn't expect and didn't like, that happened, those are your bad lucks. It is the different side of the same coin. It is, we are living in those who are living in the duality consciousness, this good and bad is applicable to them. Most of us, we have lived that life, and that's why this good and bad thing have experienced. Now, different people has shared their own experience as with their life. So I will go with some of the quotations I have collected on this. This is about how society deals with it. And this is not my message. I'm quoting something that does not mean I'm endorsing it. I'm just saying, for the sake of discussion, how these things has been perceived. A Greek philosopher named Seneca, Roman philosopher, he long thousands of years back, he said, luck is what happens when preparation meets the opportunity. Yeah, it's a very good way of saying. A lot of management books also, they define success in this way. When the preparation meets the opportunity. Okay, so you are preparing. So this is a time. So over the period of time, you are preparing. So suddenly some opportunity will come. If you meet that opportunity, and that is the point of success, or that is the point of luck, then it is the good result will come out of that. But if your preparation is not enough, then the opportunity will come and it will go out. it will not be able to meet that. So again, after a certain point of time, another opportunity come like a bubble. If you meet it, it will be luck. But if you miss it, maybe you are not reached there yet, then you will miss it. So it will go further. Then another bubble will come with opportunity. And then when you meet it will be meet with the success. That's how it works. Okay. If they meet, that is how the luck is defined here. It's a good way of looking at it. I like it, the way it is mentioned here. This is one aspect of it. Here, basically, the luck has been considered as a good luck. That is what is being explained, how good luck works. So you have to be prepared. Basically, it is saying you have to be prepared for that. It is not an accident. Only the opportunity will not stay all the time. It will come at a certain time, pop up, not stay for long. If you hit that, within that period, you are prepared, you will get it. If you are unprepared for it, then you will lose it. That opportunity will lose it. And this also I've explained, this is true for your spiritual development as well. You will be preparing yourself for a certain moment, for, say, you're preparing yourself for enlightenment. So I explained it earlier, that as a spiritual seeker, your only duty to make yourself ready, like a lamp. You have to prepare the lamp. That is your sadhana, how to make it lamp. Then as a divine moment, some master will come or some divine guidance will come like a lit lamp, like some enlightened person is awakened consciousness. And yours is not awakened yet. When you are ready, that master will come, the flame will, which lamp is not lit, the flame will catch that lamp. Now both the lamp will lit. By doing so, like master will touch the people's life at the divine moment, and that the awakening will happen. The final part of awakening will happen, not the preparation. By doing so, end of the thing, suppose there are 5 seekers whose life has been touched by the master. They have awakened. At the end of it, 5 plus masters plus all 5, they will be lit up. They will get enlightened. Nobody will lose anything. Like from the lamps, Deep Satdeep Jale, the master will not lose anything. All light will be lit. And that is the purpose that is how the enlightenment works. So when that opportunity will come, the master will come energetically, that time your only duty is to make your lamp ready, means make yourself ready. Like to make the lamp ready, you have to put oil and some thread sort of thing in the middle and all this kind of stuff. No? Old time, I'm not talking electric lamp, I'm talking the actual earthen lamp, oil lamp or ghee lamp. So now if instead of oil there is water, it will not catch fire. The lamp will not lit. So even though master comes, nothing will happen. Then you have to wait for the next opportunity. Maybe after 5 years, some other master will come and then impart that and things like that. So anyway, that is a good way of looking at it, that luck is when the preparation meets the opportunity. So then it materializes. And there are other versions of so-called the bad luck thing also. There are a lot of quotations on that. One of the famous one was from Amitabh Bachchan. Okay. He says, bad luck either destroys you or makes you what you really are. Means it is basically he's telling that bad luck is a challenge. If you are not good enough, you will be wiped out. If you take it as a challenge and overcome the challenge, you come as stronger. So whatever inside you will come out. True power will come out. That's a good thing. That is good way of looking at it. And there are something which is unknown, but I liked it. Say, luck always seems to work against the man who depends on it. Okay. Whoever depends on luck, everything is on luck, then it always works against them because you are depending on it. So that is also a very good way of saying that, or it is indirectly saying don't leave everything for chances. If you leave everything for chances without any preparation, without any effort from your side, most likely the outcome will be always negative because you are depending on luck. Suppose you want a job, but you are not applying, you are not going anywhere, you are not meeting anyone, submitting applications, etc. So you are thinking, I'm at home, whoever needs it will contact me and then I will go. So you will never get a job. Okay. So you will always have bad luck because you are not prepared. So then this kind of person, they blame on their, everybody else, that nobody gives their due, nobody understood the talent of his talent, nobody find it out and all these things. Society is bad, system is bad, whatever the professional industry is bad, everybody is bad. And end of it, society is bad, even that will say why the God is punishing me. So even God is also bad. God is punishing. Anyway, so it is not about that. It is about don't depend on your luck. Luck to be created. Also another one says, so life is not about good luck or bad luck. It is about what you do with what you have given. So whatever you have given, what to do with it, it is all about, life is all about that, what you have. It is not about good luck or bad luck. So in other words, it is saying that life is not the game of the luck. It is not a what is called casino. It is not that you are rotating the wheel and get the fortune will come. Life is not like that, not about that. And one American writer, his name is Cormac McCarthy, and he has given a very good insight into it. He said, you never know what worse luck your bad luck has saved you from. Means what you considered as a bad luck, maybe things could have been worse. So bad luck is a better version of the worst one which could have happened. This is also very interesting. It comes from a high level of wisdom, that these kind of things. Now let me tell you about this. And similar way, Dalai Lama also said that sometimes, remember that not getting what you want is sometimes a wonderful stroke of luck. And sometimes if you get what you want, that may not be in your ultimate good. And that's what I was explaining, which is in our best interest. I'll come about the best interest when I will talk about our spiritual aspect of the whole issue. Even if you get it what you want, that may not be for your ultimate good. And this particular thing, this aspect, the wise ones who has already experienced life, who has seen it, who knows this good luck, bad luck is just a statistics. This is, nothing is, whatever you perceive on the surface of it, that may not be the whole story of it. In one of his book, another great master, J.P. Vaswani ji, has written his story of a Chinese story. It's an old story he has written in his book. It is about two farmers, Chinese farmers in the early, long time back, maybe a few 100 years back. They were neighbor. They have two farms next to each other. So one of the Chinese, farmer was a philosopher. He has very high experience about life, very wise. And other one is like anybody, like a common, like a next door neighbor and talking about everything type of character. Okay. So what happened was that the wise farmer, he had one horse. Earlier they used to plow the land with a horse. In India we use cow. In India and Africa, but earlier in Europe and other places, in China and the northern hemisphere, they use horse for the plowing the land. So he had only one horse. So it is a mountain area and in a jungle, and he has a farmland, both of them neighbors together. So what happened one fine morning, after sunrise, the farmer, the wise one, realized that his horse is the only horse, the one horse he had, it has broken the rope and run away in the forest. So the other neighbor saw that and say, "Oh, what a bad luck you have. The only horse also ran away." The wise one said, "Okay, bad luck or good luck, who knows?" So a few days he tried to arrange something. After a few days, they saw that horse has come back with 4 more horses along, the wild horses along with it. They came back and drinking water in that farmhouse. So they gone and tied them up and put them into the stable, make the stable ready for 5 horses. So that time neighbor says, "Oh, see, you have a good luck. You have got 4. Not only one came back, you have 4 more for free. You have a you're a lucky guy. It's a good luck." Then he said, "Good luck or bad luck, who knows?" Then this, the wise farmer's only son, he was like maybe 18, 19 years old son. He was trying to train the wild horses. The 4 horses, they will use them in plowing the land. So he was training them. One day, one of the wild horses thrown that boy out of his shoulder, and that boy fell down and broken his leg. Then his neighbor says, "Oh, what a bad luck you have. Your son has broken the leg." Then the wise, that farmer said, "Bad luck or good luck, who knows?" Within a week's time, there was some royal army came. In that village, they have taken all the men who are between 18 to 30 years of age. They have taken compulsorily to join the army. So they had all of the fellows and then taken to the army, but they left the boy because he has broken leg. Then his neighbor says, "Oh, my boy has gone there. My child has gone to the army now. So but your boy is saved. What a lucky you are. You have a very good luck." Then also the man says, "Good luck or bad luck, who knows?" Anyway, the story ends here. But message is clear. So whatever is happens, if 50% good luck and 50% bad luck happen, no? So better to go with the flow of life and stop analyzing it. It is about, it will happen that way. It is no matter you brand them as a good luck or brand them as a bad luck. So it will keep moving, because this good luck and bad luck thing is stamped by our mind. When we have it didn't meet with our expectation, It's a bad luck, and if it exceeded that, we say it is a good luck. If you control your expectation, all the masters, their expectation is zero. They don't expect anything from anyone or any situation. That's why they don't get affected by this kind of dualities, good and bad. Yesterday, I was listening to the video of Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle, or somebody say Eckhart Tolle, but both are correct. I think it is a way of pronunciation. He's a very famous master, and he has written The Power of Now, and there are 2-3 books he has written. Is a bestseller. We also discussed about the present moment, and the past and future is all in your mind. Only the truth is the present moment and the now moment. Whole universe is at eternal now moment. There is nothing called past or future. There is no time, in fact. There is no time and space as we know it. So anyway, so he had been asked just yesterday or day before the video was posted in a hall that what is your biggest achievement in life? Okay. People were thinking maybe he will talk about his books, bestseller books he has written, or maybe he is having some millions of followers. Many people follow. Oprah Winfrey has taken his interview quite a few times, and those are widely seen and very, very popular. Like that. He's a thin, short height type of fellow, very simple, come with a sweater and like that. But he's a genius, a spiritual master. Anyway, so he says, my biggest achievement is in this life, I have win over my mind. I don't follow my mind anymore. That is his biggest achievement in life. See? Means that the mind is worst boss and best servant. We lead our life under what mind is prompting us. Good, bad, oh, you are lucky, you are not lucky, or you are not good enough, or something. This is not correct. That is not. This is wrong. And this is, just protect your interest, forget about others, and this kind of stuff. So those your mind is prompting. Now, when the mind has stopped, all our sadhana is to go into no thought zone. And we already told you the first day you will achieve 45 minutes of continuous thoughtless state, or you are in a no thought zone. That will be the day of your enlightenment. Godspot will open. You get your permanent connection will establish. I can have broadband, set up from that day. We all experience that, experience and come back. But it has to, the experience means experience and enlightenment. Like all of us during 6-step meditation, in the 6th step, we go into that zone. But when we come out of the meditation, slowly that effect goes because we cannot hold them. But after that process, it will stay all the time, 24/7. That time, mind will be fully under control. Whenever you need the mind, you say, oh, now you do this task for me. I wanted to say, I want to travel to, say, maybe I'm going to London for 2 days, make a plan for me. Mind will do the planning and which airline to go and how much ticket cost, how much budget we have, who else will go, where to stay, with our blah, blah. Once it is done, mind has gone back and you are again come back to your meditative awareness state. Here the mind is the servant. And earlier, mind is your boss. Because without your permission, also mind can come and talk, guide you and instruct you rather, do this, do that, that is good, that is bad, and things like that. That is what maximum people live their life. So Eckhart Tolle said, my biggest achievement, I put mine into as my servant. You know, that is my biggest achievement. What is a wonderful way of saying these things? All the trouble we have is actually the interpretation of our mind of that incident. How master play in these kind of things, I will tell you on the spiritual part when we'll come into that. But in general, this kind of duality we are experiencing because of our ego mind. So this is how it is basically the interpreted version of our mind, what we think that it is ours. We are not that. We are much, much beyond that. So, all right, there is another interesting story I shared in the morning of a newspaper. You know, in US, I'm talking, maybe 30, 40 years back. So when everybody used to, the digital thing has not come that time. So everybody used to read newspaper daily, In our childhood days, we have seen that newspaper used to come every morning. So, and that time, in very much childhood, I have seen first the newspaper our grandfather used to read, then it is passed it on to my father and my uncle. They used to read, and then maybe it will go to some of the ladies, and last what is left out, we wanted to read the comics, Mandrax or something, what is called Phantom. Anyway, our turn is to come at the end, but that was the tradition in the family. The head of the family will read the first thing in the morning, the newspaper heading. Anyway, now in that survey that done in the US, they they asked a question that who considered themselves as a lucky and who considered themselves unlucky in their life in general. 80% of them, they have written back, they considered themselves as unlucky. Nothing actually, nothing means not satisfactory level working for them, Only 20% have written they are okay with it. Means luck is not a big deal. They feel lucky most of the time. They got surprised when so many people are unlucky. How can it possible? Statistically, it should be 50-50, So 50% people should feel lucky, 50, but it is not about that statistic, something else. So they wanted to research on that one. So what they did, normally the front page is the headline and the big newses. In the second page, I think page 3 is entertainment and cinema and all this kind of stuff and all this. And after that, nobody actually go into the detail. Maybe then editorial and this kind of versions. And small news come for, suppose 6 pages newspaper, say for 6 pages newspaper, what they have, and the last page is for the sports. Now, what they have done in the 4th page in the bottom, okay, they inserted a small one line. They have written, if you read this line, you call our office so-and-so number and claim your $1,000 prize. And that's it. The newspaper gone, and they got a call from naturally several people and who claim their prizes, and of course they given their own contact numbers and all these things. Now they call them back. Of course, they have given the prizes and call them back. Those people who claimed that prize, all of them came from the 20% category who are feel lucky. Means these people, they are very meticulously read everything. They study what they have, For them, that is why they don't miss any opportunity. Somewhere some sale has come. So they know that because they have read everything which is there in the paper. Something or somebody is selling houses a very, discounted price. They will know because it is written somewhere. So that is why, because they are so aware and meticulous, that's why they become lucky all the time. So that is, see, that is statistically, they have now understood who feeling unlucky, actually, they are not alert and aware. That's why they're missing the opportunities all the time. Newspaper is one form of it, but any, in general, any opportunity, they miss it because they are not fully aware and alert. It is not that the opportunities are not coming. In the beginning, I was telling the preparation, that opportunity come, it has to meet. But if you're not prepared, opportunity one by one, it will go and it will never meet your preparation. You are always lagging in the preparation. So this is also another way of looking at luck. And it reconfirms that your effort, it is not only the statistics, your awareness, your actions, and your, how you, how much detail you go into, that also depends upon your success rate. Casual approach, okay, glance through something, okay, it will not give much result. You will miss it all the time. So that's what it says. So, all right, this is about the normal way of, traditional way of the what is called luck. I will stop here for some time. So if there are any question on this, you ask me, then I will go to the spiritual part of it. So what luck and exactly means, and what is the best interest means. Any question?
Guruji, this is okay once you're not able to read from the newspaper. Hari Om.
Yes, Hariom, go ahead.
You're not able to read from the newspaper, but suppose there is a Tambola session, and after that everybody has put the ticket in that, and very rarely I found that I got the free prize.
Okay.
So how do we explain? Because there are some people who are lucky when they are playing Tambola, they are the first one to click all the numbers.
Yeah. So you have to increase your promptness and fastness. But anyway, suppose that 20 people are playing. No? Statistically, at least out of 20 Tambola, you will get in one. Okay. So consider whatever you played, maybe 10, those are first 10, So you will get in the second half. Okay. So anyway, so this is that, this is the statistics kind of thing. So everybody wants to win, but it is a game of statistics. I mean, the probability. Assuming everybody has the same skill, sometimes number passed, you don't recognize your number as passed, you didn't, prick that number. So then you will miss it anyway. But assuming that everybody is doing that, but still your chance, maybe 20 people are playing, so your chance will come once in 20, statistically. So that 20 can be the first of the 20 or 20th of 20 or 19th of the 20. So we wait for that. It will certainly come statistically.
So Hari Om ji, there was a joke on, I hate to put it on an ethnic joke like Polish or Sardar joke, but it was one of those jokes that came in that this guy was cribbing about not winning a lottery. And he used to pray to Bhagwan ko ki lottery dilwa do. So last में भगवान ने बोला कि पहले तो टिकट तो तू खरीद. But he doesn't buy the lottery ticket and he prays to win the lottery. So that's what it is.
Okay, good luck to them. Okay. But so now let us, yeah, yes, Vikas.
I will quote one incident which happened in Abu Dhabi. One of my ex-colleague, and he won a lottery. वो चक्कर वाला होता है ना in malls and all that. So he won a lottery with one Mercedes car, $1 million, and 1 kg gold. Now the problem with him was he didn't have license to drive in UAE. He had a license of US which he lost. Then he, as far as gold is concerned, he is a divorcee. So he doesn't know what to do with the gold. Ultimately, he had a $1 million which he which he invested somewhere for 10 years. And on and above, next he has taken further loans of say $500,000, 500,000 dirhams and all that. And after 6 months, he lost the job.
Okay.
So he was going around to total UAE to get something, some job so that he can pay back the installments. So somehow he is managing there.
Okay.
But this is one of the picture when you get something but you are not able to utilize.
Yeah. So that is called that deservability. His pain is much more because he got it, and after that he cannot enjoy it. See, so that's why it is not necessary what you get and whether you'll be able to enjoy that. So that depends. If you don't deserve it, it will go away from you.
Yeah, statistically, most of the winners of the lottery ticket go bankrupt in US. Even Mike Tyson, the champion boxer, he went bankrupt. He won the lottery twice.
Okay, let me give you our insight of that. It is nothing about that money and nothing about that. It is how your mind plays. I stopped doing this kind of gambling or even the share. It is my personal thing. I'm just sharing here. Why I stopped it? Because see, you get greedy. Nothing wrong with the market. It goes ups and downs. It's per own way, na? Suppose you have invested, say, 1 lakh rupees, and say within a month you got 2 lakhs. Then you put 2 lakhs, and it got 4 lakhs after a month. You put 4 lakhs, you get 8 lakhs after another 5 months. So you think yourself you are an expert, Then finally you invest 16 lakh, the value comes to 0. See, originally, if you have got any other thing, it's still greed is take you to that level. It is impossible that time when you earned 8 lakh rupees to keep 4 lakhs and invest only 4 lakhs back so that you covered yourself. Your mind will not allow that. Your mind will say, are you stupid? You are making double. The 8 will be 16, and they keep on doing still they fail. See, they become addicted to it. They keep doing it till they fail. Then the collapse happens, and that is what most of the people are doing. They don't know how to handle this kind of wealth. That's why they took all wrong decisions and finally landed up into this bankruptcy. Because of this pattern, the mind pattern. If you follow the rule, you will be fine. Everybody knows that. I will make this much amount of money, come out of the market. But they don't do that. Your mind will not allow you to do that. That time you will think you are top of the world. You are the one of the best in the market analysis. You should not stop unless you become next Harshad Mehta. Okay. So anyway, so let us put that upon. So see, ultimately who is the culprit? Culprit is your ego mind. You are listening to that. If you follow the rules, maybe you will be fine. And exactly this is the reason I don't do it, because I know I will fall into that trap. And that time losing that type of money, and you will be having painful experience of that. It is better not to start that at all. Invest in the safe side, which is have a sure return and thing like that. You don't make big amount, but it will be fine. Anyway, it is my personal thing. It depends upon people and how much they do. And I'm not going into that. I'm not saying this is the best or only method. All right. So now let me come to the second part of our learning session, which is the spiritual part. Let me give you the spiritual part of it. As I already mentioned, the luck is all about how mind interpret things. Let that go back to the definition of that Oxford: chance considered as a force that causes good or bad things to happen. Who considers it as a force? Our mind. It is not a force. It is simple statistics. If you toss a coin, yeah, okay, if you do 3 times, then something will be bigger than the other. Don't go into that. If you toss a 5,000 times, then almost 1,500 times head will come, 2,500 times tail will come, statistically. If your sample is big, then you know that good thing will happen 50% time and bad thing will happen 50% of time, statistically. And that is how life plays. You accept it both, no matter head or tail, you accept it and go ahead with your game or whatever. Now, spiritual perspective of that is, we are thinking something is happening to us accidentally, good or bad. It is not the truth. Nothing in this universe is an accident. Our soul knows everything, including your future, including the outcome of these lotteries. Even it knows which ticket will win. There is nothing that our soul does not know. And that is not a special few enlightened people's soul. Everybody's soul knows everything. That is, it's called inner guru. Okay. In your life, whatever is happening, without permission of your soul, nothing can happen. Ek patta bhi nahi hil sakta. Forget about a big thing. So that is, from that angle, if you see the life, accident is not possible. It has to be agreed upon, otherwise it will simply not happen. Okay, and at the soul level, all souls are equally powerful. It is not that some soul will come and bulldoze the other one and then implement his wish. No, that happens only in this three-dimensional reality. It doesn't happen in there. So that means that whatever is happening, it is not by luck or not by chance. It is by design. Your soul puts you under certain experiences. There is no good or bad thing at soul level. It has got some plan. Two things happens there. One is soul's plan. Soul wants you to experience certain things. It experience winning a lottery. It experience grief. It experience that be champion in a sports. Also experiencing you lost your most treasured and loved item, your possession, some thief came and stolen away. All are experiences. Your soul has a plan, experience all sort of things. Soul wants to experience itself in infinite ways. And of course, 50% them will be as per your normal expectation or good, and something will be which you don't like. That's how it works. And second part in parallel also happens, your karmic account. Soul wants you to close all karmic accounts, which is not in the plan, but you have done some karma, you disbalance the energy, that energy needs to be settled, balanced, and that's why you have to undergo certain way, whether you like it or not. It is like a soul is doing some surgery to remove, maybe gallbladder stone. When the surgery is happening, whatever karma has happened, that created that stone. So now that stone needs to be removed. Like go to the hospital, then you will be anesthetized and the doctor will come, surgeon will come and operate you and put a bandage and all. And you rest for some time, you'll feel pain there for next 1 week, and so on and so forth. But those kind of, they cut your, the belly and remove the, stone, etc. It is painful when you come out of the anesthesia. But that was necessary to remove that stone permanently. So that way also our soul has given this kind of things, bring in this kind of things in our life so that we can finish it off. It is not about our luck. There is nothing called luck in soul level. It is all by design. There is no such something called accident. Of course, soul may not be able, will tell you to have you that experience. Simple as that. Soul knows everything. The masters, they can communicate and know everything. Even in the master level, sometimes they need certain experience to happen. It will disclose later on. Then the whole purpose is found. So anyway, that is a different story. But in general, that's how it works. So if you are feeling, if you are not, something happened. So only thing what you have done in the soul level, you detach from your analytical mind so that you get experience full, you transcend and overcome that. It's gone. Once you have experienced that, suppose you need to get cheated as per soul's plan or karmic accounting. Somebody stolen your money, or you wanted to get hit by a stone, that you want to experience that. Somebody can come and throw the stone. We have a free will. Nobody can stop somebody else to do some harm to you. Remember that. Even the spiritual masters, they are not free from harm. First line, our, the principles that, we are one principles is protect physically. Why? Because somebody can do physical harm to you. Spiritually, nobody can do anything, but physically, they can do harm. You have to protect yourself. We are living in a society, so it may not be always physical harm. It can be some verbal abuse, and it can happen. Even the Jesus Christ was crucified. He was killed till death by nailing. By Jesus Christ, that kind of master. So now, forget about anybody else. So you have to protect, and somebody can actually do that kind of harm. But it doesn't matter what they do, but everything, if you look at it from the soul point of view, these are all experiences. You have passed through that experience, that is gone. If it is not as per soul's plan, then unwanted things to happen to you. Somebody can come and do something even if it is not your soul's plan, because they have a free will. How you protect from that? Only way to protect yourself, raise your vibration. If you are operating in a high vibration, this untoward incident, you will not attract. If you lower your vibration, you will attract all these kind of abuses and these kind of things. So it is not about the external world. If you are going through a forest, one snake comes, it will bite who is most shivering, who is most terrified. It will go and bite that person, because that person having a lowermost vibration. That snake, they feel that vibration with their chest. That they feel by the earth, they feel the vibration. It will go and bite that person who is most terrified. So how they distinguish somebody is terrified, somebody doesn't care? Okay, just by the vibration. So what I'm saying is raise your vibration so that you can get out of it. And then you get detached from it. Whatever comes, you consider it is your soul's experience and move on. You get completely detached that what is happening in the thing, or you consider it as a challenge, meet the challenge. They say that only rough sea can make a skillful sailor. That is also one of the reasons the soul creates some kind of situation what you need to overcome. Take it as a challenge and overcome it. That's it. Once you have done it, it will go. It will not come back. Suppose in the school you are in a class 6, you have appeared in the exam, you pass the exam, you need not to come back for class 6. You go to class 7. Same here. Whatever experience is designed, you have to pass through, don't run away. You have to experience it, pass through it, and overcome it. You transcend that level, then only it will go from your life. And if you don't pass, again and again, it will come back to you under different time, different circumstances. Face it, finish it, and then move forward. So that is the way forward from the spiritual the point of view. So if something happened, you are not feeling, so the question is, if you're not feeling good, if you're not feeling bad, or if you're not feeling, think it is good luck and not think it is a bad luck, what is it? How they feel then? All the time, the masters, they feel blessed. Not good or bad, blessed. That is coming from unity consciousness. There is no duality. There is no feeling of good and bad. Everything is experienced equally. The state is called equanimity, which is that whether, no matter what is the external situation, you are in equilibrium. And that is a blissful state, high vibration, blissful state. That the joy of living is not coming from the external world. It is coming from your internal connection. I have explained earlier already in different session. What is the source of that joy which is coming to us? It is your inside, the feeling. You don't depend upon the external factors to make you joyful. It's not possible. You have to open your internal reservoir, or set a connection with that to get joyful. And in this way, my message to you is at the end, this is the last part of that learning session, that if life is a game of luck, okay, our life itself, by living this life itself, we are lucky enough. We have that life. It is good enough luck to have this life. Next thing what you need to do is find out the purpose of this life. And through meditation, of course, connection from your higher self only will come to know what is the purpose of this life. And meet that as your life mission. Then the purpose of life will be served and will get liberated from it. You need not to come back. You graduated from this class of the art plane. Okay, that is my message. I will repeat here. If the life is game of luck, we are lucky to have the life itself. And find out the purpose of this life and make it your life mission to meet that purpose in this life itself, so that you need not to come back to appear in the same exam. Otherwise, it will keep on coming back to appear in the exam. There is only one way out. Way out to where? Going to home of your soul. That is from where we created, going back to the source. Way out, I'm not saying run away. I'm saying transcend. As I said, the class 6, you graduated class 6, so you transcend that thing. So you need to transcend, and that is the way forward. We go back to our soul's home. So that is the spiritual way of looking at it. And life itself, if we have a luck, we are lucky enough to have this life. What is happening, that doesn't matter. We all planned it. We make a plan before we come here. And the script is being played here. The drama is being played here, that's all. Okay, that is the spiritual understanding of the whole issue. So that completes the learning session. If you have any further question, you ask me, then we'll go into the Kriya and meditation.
Yeah, Nirupam here.
Yes, Nirupam.
My question is that ego and mind, Are they the same thing, or is there any slight difference? Ego and mind.
Okay. Ego is mind, body, intellect package we identify with, that is called ego. Mind, body, intellect. And then the ego controlling us through our mind. How it controlling? The injecting some thought into our mind. We think it's our thought and then we carried away with that. And that triggers further emotion and so on and so forth. Further action comes out from that. So basically, ego and thought are two different entities. Thought is the instrument of the ego by which it controls us. When you stop the thinking mind, they lose that control. It has got no power to control you. And exactly that is what we try to achieve by meditation and other things, to calm down our mind so that there is no thought. So that way, when there is no thought, they lose the power. The ego gets dropped automatically. So that's how it works. That answers your question?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Okay. God bless you.